diagnose pressure packages and keep Max upright. That's a serious problem when you play Todd Grantham because he's going to send the house. Now, last year, LSU did create some huge plays in the passing game against the Todd Grantham defense. This one looks to be a little bit more improved, and LSU's offense doesn't look like it's as equipped as it was last year to make those plays.
Yeah, you're going to see a ton of that stuff, especially if we can't get our run game going early. It's going to be three-man fronts and exotic looks and guys coming from angles. We call palms coverage in the NFL, which is you have a corner squatting on one side and the blitz coming from the other side. And that's what they're going to see. You're going to see a ton of that, especially if we're not explosive in the pass game. And that's something that we really just couldn't take advantage of last week. Had some opportunities to take the top off the defense at Kentucky, and you couldn't get those. So you play again like that against Florida, man, their quarterback is both of them actually, is a lot more explosive than Levis with their legs. They're going to be running that read option, running those RPOs. They're going to, keep our offense off the field and really try to wear our defensive line down because they've seen teams do it time and time again, and what a team to do it with the number 3 rushing attack in the country.
I'm going to keep it with LSU's offense here for a second because you've played the running back position. In 2019, a lot was made of the fact that teams would try to bring some pressure, and LSU did not keep anybody in. They put 5 guys out there, and Burrow was able to diagnose it, figure it out, get the ball where it needed to go, and you had playmakers all over the field. That's obviously the ideal situation offensively, to have a quarterback back there and have weapons enough to be able to figure it out and get the ball where it needs to go. Is that the way you would handle it with this offense, or does LSU need to keep more protection guys back there, whether it's bringing in Mashburn to help protect, whether it's Cole Taylor, who's not a great blocker, or whether it's one of the running backs, likely TDP?
Yeah, I would have loved to say that. Let's spread these guys out. Let's keep 5 out. Let's run scat protection all game, which is just 5 guys blocking. But Max hasn't been playing with that elite confidence, that swagger, that just, that rapport that you want your quarterback to have in the pocket and that pocket presence. It's just he seems a little rattled, especially early on in games when you get the free rushes, you get guys getting pushed in his lap. It's a hard offense to run if those guys aren't blocking their tails off, and you got a quarterback back there that can diagnose and make you pay for those one-on-one matchups on the outside. So I think for this offense, you're going to have to continue to do what we've been doing, have tight ends chip, have best chip in, have the back staying in, cleaning up guys who are free rushers and guys who get beat on the offensive line, and that's probably going to be your best course of action. And then mixing more RPOs in. I know we tried to run some last week, just didn't really hit like we were early on in the season with those, but you got to continue to do those things because to access offensive line to just sit there and hold up and let us chunk the ball down the field, for one, we can't hold up for that long, and that's really, to me, to this point, not Max's really strong suit, trying to get the ball, 40, 50 yards down the field.
Is there a back that's best on this team in pass protection in the film you're watching?
Yeah, TDP for sure. TDP is the best back, and then Josh Williams is probably the second best back in pass protection. You kind of starting to see why they didn't want to have the freshman out there. Just whether it's a pass game, just catching the ball, being consistent, a guy you can trust out the backfield, or it's the pass protection, just not enough consistency that you would want to see from a freshman back. So I think you'll still see a ton of TDP and then Josh Williams coming in and cleaning up that duty.
You think that Kiner drop last week is going to limit his playing time? O mentioned it twice in the press this week.
Yeah, stinking freshman, man. Just thinking it up, blaming on the freshman. But, yeah, I definitely think it hurts. It's not a good look, especially in the road environments. I think that's why we both kind of agree that he didn't play the UCLA game. Just a lot going on in that environment for a freshman kid who, was just at high school probably 4 or 5 months ago. So, I definitely see them going with TDP. He played well. He seemed like he ran with a lot more juice, especially in that second half. So I see them running with him for sure.
I think that's going to be the case. I really do. We mentioned this yesterday, and I won't belabor the point, but I just kind of disagreed with O's take on the coach's show when they asked him about the play calls, and he said, we shouldn't be throwing the ball to the freshman running back. Come on, he's a college scholarship athlete. He can catch the football, throw him the ball, convert the down and move the chains. That kind of irritated me a little bit. To move to LSU defensively, this is something that we'll talk about a lot in the second half. In the second half of the show, but let's talk about the defensive front and the state that it's in. Since this show aired yesterday, Ali Gay has been ruled out. But here's the rotation that you've got. I think you've got Mason Smith on one end. I think you've got B.J. Ojulari on another, with Sony Fanua as your next guy up. Then on the inside, you've got Glenn Logan and Neil Farrell, and you've got Jaquelin Roy and Jacobin Guillory. It's not a numbers issue. It's just a question of, are they good enough up there?
Man, I gotta I don't know. Maybe I need to start tempering my expectations with this defensive line. I've really had them heralded like a all-time all SEC. Thought you'd have 2 or 3 all SEC guys. Obviously, injuries have played a big role in that, and obviously Glenn Logan not being in the lineup plays a role in that. But man, those guys just haven't played well. You put that full body of work in that Kentucky game together, and then you put that second half, most of that second half, and just how they couldn't get Bo Nix Manziel to the ground. The defense has to play better, especially from the outside. Obviously, missing Andre Anthony. He seemed to be our best edge rusher. Yeah. BJ's he's not getting off the ball right now. He's the last rusher off the ball. He's not really, causing pressure from the outside. And you need that with these teams just trying to wear you down, run down the middle, run down the throat every play. And we're getting pushed too much. I know Neil Farrell played amazing against Mississippi State, but we got pushed way too much in the middle last week, and teams are going to see that, and they're going to keep doing it week in and week out. So I think for me, watching the defensive line this week, can we fight these double teams? Can we stop letting these double teams just push us 4 and 5 yards down the field and give our linebackers a chance? Damone Clark is really starting to come into his own right now, SEC leading tackler. Got to give him a chance to run sideline to sideline and make plays. So I'm going to be looking for our defensive line I know it's a lot of guys going to be playing a lot of snaps more than they used to, but they're definitely going to have to step up and play a lot better than they have these past few weeks.
I watched every offensive snap that Florida ran against Alabama, and it was really impressive, the variation in their running game. It's all out of the gun, but you're talking about read options, some inside zone stuff, some true speed options to the edge. They're really diverse in what they do running the football. It's not just line it up, toss it, and go right downhill. You got to honor a lot of different pieces to the puzzle, the quarterback being one, the backup quarterback being another, and then the 3 running backs they're going to bring in. It's an impressively diverse running game.
Yeah, I think I disrespected them earlier this week. I said this is the most innovative and less miles offense you could run, which means they're trying to run the ball. That's what they're trying to do. But Dan Mullen, being the offensive mind that he is, he's not just got to get in the eye and run toss dive. He's got to, like you said, run speed option. He's got to run some off tackle stuff. He's got to run some RPO stuff. He's got to run, quarterback power runs with the quarterback just being the ball carrier. And what that does.
Yeah, that's another one they did.
Yeah. So
that's a numbers winner there.
Yeah. You got 10 blocking for 1, so that's perfect for the offense. So that's what Dan Mullen does. He does a phenomenal job scheming those guys up. You don't become the number 3 rushing attack in the country if you don't know what you're doing, and Florida knows what they're doing in the run game.
I actually listened to a couple podcasts as well, just trying to pick up information on Florida, and there was a lot of discussion about Anthony Richardson, who is now 100% healthy and ready to play, but didn't play very well against Vanderbilt. In that game, he threw an interception. It was ugly. Came in, they went 3 and out when he came in the game. My take is that you're not going to see a lot of Anthony Richardson tomorrow unless things are bogged down and they needed some kind of a spark. I don't know that it's going to be a big part of the game plan like a lot of fans may think because he had the huge runs early in the season. Your take on how much of 15 we'll see tomorrow?
Yeah, I don't think we'll see much of him.
By the way, how is he wearing 15?
Yeah.
That is ridiculous.
Hey, yeah. I mean, he must be something. He must be something. I guess it's
put it in the
Dan
rafters.
Mullen,
let's go.
A Dan Mullen quarterback thing. I think Dak had 15 at did he have 15 at Mississippi State? Am I crazy for thinking that?
Yeah, it sounds right. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So that must be a Dan Mullen thing that he likes his quarterbacks to have that 1-5.
Nobody should be wearing 15 in Gainesville.
Yeah, not at all. That guy just confidence a little bit too much, but they obviously got a world of confidence. But I'm looking at the numbers. He only let him throw 18 passes this year, so I don't think that's kind of what they want to do. When he's in there, they probably want to get him going with his legs, and they trust Emory to pass the ball. He has 157 pass attempts, so that's just a world of a difference. It's not like they're splitting time and this guy's coming in for a series and running the show. I think they're using him pretty much in that Tim Tebow role that you saw when Chris Leak was the starter. He come in, run a jump pass here, run some quarterback run stuff there, and that's probably going to be the role they have for him.
Passing game is safe when I watch, and that's something we brought up earlier in the week is how easy Dan Mullen likes to make things on his quarterback unless he's got Trask back there, Dak back there that he really trusts to stretch the field, read the defense, and do things. Those Emory Jones passes are traveling 8 yards in the air, and if they need to take one deep shot, they'll try, but it's a lot of stuff that's crossing routes, shallow stuff, just kind of everything that's right in front of him.
Yeah, he's only averaging 7 yards a reception, and for a team that's so heavy play action, you would think they would have more yards per attempt, but that's just where they are. 9 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, just not really an explosive passing attack. They do everything the most success they had against Alabama was running the ball. That's what they want to do. They want to get their backs going. They want to get their quarterbacks going, and they want to control the time of possession. And that's what they're going to do. I don't really see them changing from that anytime soon. Even just watching Emory Jones as a passer, that was my Achilles heels for this Florida team. I didn't think he'd be able to pass consistently enough to be the Florida team that you would want to see. And with 2 losses already, obviously one against Alabama, but you're starting to see that. If you had a quarterback like a Trask in this offense, I don't think Florida would be at 2 losses right now.
Marlon Favorite, LSU Sports Radio Network will join us next when we come back on a Football Friday edition of Hunt and Hill.
Hunt Palmer and Jeremy Hill. It's Hunt and Hill. We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
And our topic today is about savings. What is savings?
Hancock Whitney isn't just a bank for our clients. We're investing in our hometowns, making life better for everyone. So keep dreaming. We've got your back.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Yo, Jake here for Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic, the place that's going to be convenient for you during an inconvenient time. Look, you hear me talk about my 4 boys all the time, and sometimes things like stitches, well, they happen. And in fact, they have. And Patient Plus is always taking care of us, just like they'll do the same for you. And now with 7 convenient locations across the Baton Rouge area, open from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m., 7 days a week. And also at PatientPlusUC.com, you can sign up for your appointment on the way to the clinic. That's Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic. Get in and get better.
Front to Back Boat Service has been family owned and operated for 30 years. And the Sherman family is NMEA certified. That's the National Marine Electronics Association at Front to Back. They are committed to improving the safety and technology of marine electronics through installer training, interface standards. And look, the fall and the winter, it's the perfect time to do that yearly maintenance you've been putting off. Get those parts you've been wanting. So schedule your appointment today at Front to Back, North Airway off of Airline Highway.
Starting in 1974, Central Plumbing has served Baton Rouge and surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Through these tough and trying times, we want you to remember that the Payne family is here to continue to support and serve you. As a multi-generational business, there is no job that is too big or too small. Residential, commercial, industrial, hospitality, we're here for anything you need. 24/7, 365. Give us a call, 225-925-8552.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for a Football Friday edition of AFR presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. Phil Steele will be with us. The Right Radio Hours return, and we will have a cooked gator in studio. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Tigers and Gators, 11 o'clock in the morning from Tiger Stadium tomorrow. Fave, what time does that put us on the air if it's an 11 o'clock kickoff?
That put us on air at 9 o'clock.
That a boy. What time are we showing up?
I don't know, about 9, 10, 9, 15. I meant to say about 8:50. Hello.
All right. We'll see you there in the morning. All right, Fave, let's talk about this LSU team decimated by injuries. What do you think the coaching staff's message to the team is at this point, 3-3 with as many injuries as they've had?
I mean, at this point, from the coach's perspective, Hunt, your back's against the wall. And when your back's against the wall, what are you going to do? No one is expecting you to win this game. 11.5-point favorite they have. Florida going into this game. They're coming off blowing Vandy out of the water 40-0. And, of course, the week before, that's probably still bothering them to this day, losing to Kentucky, Florida. So, I mean, the deal is come out swinging. They're going to come out with their 11 guys. We're going to come out with our 11 guys and go to war because at the end of the day, all the outside chatter, all the, man, we're losing. LSU looks worse than they did since the early 90s. As a player, you got to use that as motivation. So I think that's the message that the coaches have for the players going into this game early on Saturday.
When you were playing, this was kind of the game. Alabama hadn't taken off yet, and LSU and Florida was kind of the big rivalry. Do you like the fact that we play them every single year as a permanent opponent?
I love that. I love the rivalry between us. It's one of those games when you go there, the fans are going to get on your nerves. They're right there in your ear because the seats sit so low. And you go in that environment, you're motivated because, it's 99, you can't do this, or you can't do that. I'm going to show you what I can do. Hello. And you have that attitude. And then the classic games we played at home, I remember when Tebow came down and it was the whole deal with the cell phone and there was 1,000 students calling his phone all week talking about.
I participated in that.
Probably a lot more than that. Watch out there. So, he scored and he did the whole cell phone thing, and that game went down to the wire. I just remember us just finishing. My brother Jacob Hester and that offensive line, Carnell Stewart, Brett Helms, and Saran Black, and all of those guys on that line. My dog Lyle hit. Those boys were monsters in those trenches that year, and that just really motivated us. And of course, our front seven, our linebackers, even to a certain extent, you catch a Craig Stelz or Curtis Taylor in the box. We were ready for them with the run as well. Of course, Tebow tried to do a lot of that quarterback power on us, but denied access. So there were fun matchups, and it was always something to look forward to.
I got a two-part question for you, Fave. How do you think the play of Max Johnson has been this season? And if things don't go right with this offense early on in this game, is it time to drive the nuts bus?
Those are good questions, Hilly. I think he is acting his age at the best of his ability. And that's a guy who has 2 years experience, and that's not a bad thing. It's actually a decent thing the way he's performing, because usually you have a guy redshirt, sit behind a more mature quarterback, a more ready quarterback, and then you slide in your youngster at a game with blowing someone out, and then he prepares to be that guy next year. Well, he was forced to get into that position early, both last year and this year, and I think he's still maturing. As far as if it gets ugly, sometimes you got to pull your quarterback. So I think we may see if it gets crazy ugly and it looks like Max isn't able to keep his composure, then just to save the kid, you pull him out and put Garrett in and let him just give it a different speed, a different look. For the opposing team, they didn't have an opportunity to see him, to see what he can do, so they don't have anything to game plan on. if he gets in from this year's film. I mean, pretty sure they watched in spring or probably watched in high school for the elite coaches, trying to find every angle. And to be real with you, too, while I got you on that, the fans going to play a major role, too, at it as well, since it's a homecoming and a home game. But, it's donut and coffee early, though, so, yeah.
Fave, how tough is it to ask Mason Smith as a freshman to move inside and outside week to week, depending on who's hurt and who's available?
Well, as a credit to him, he has that ability. He reminds me so much of Ricky Jean Francois, being able to be effective on the end and on the interior as a three. And he's that type of guy. So I don't think it's a major issue asking him to move from into to interior lineman because of his size. He's massive. Now, if you were to ask someone like, let's say, me or Glenn Dorsey or someone of that nature to move out to end like that, that would be fair to us. But if I'm talking about guys on our team, you can do that to a guy like, let's say, Tyson Jackson, because he can play the three a little bit because he has the size, but he's effective at end. So I look at Mason Smith in that regard, a young man coming in and just being a force up front and showing versatility earlier, showing some success at defensive end, showing some success on the interior line. Him and Jaquelin. Now, Jaquelin is a push. I think he's more a three-tech shade, but Mason is a guy you can put at five-tech and he go three.
Why have UCLA and Kentucky run the ball so well against LSU?
Because of, now here's the opposite thing, the run. I think the run was an issue for our interior linemen, well, really across the board. And what I mean by that is Kentucky was able to combination block the way it was supposed to happen. They were able to double team on the sides they wanted to run the game. They were able to squeeze, trap the tackle a couple of times on some runs. They were able to, and Hilly knows this because he's been this guy. You know when them big boys in front of him, big Elliott Porter and all those guys in front of him getting pushed, they were able to get pushed on our defensive linemen because they had better technique than our defensive linemen. They're still trying to get that down pat and hunt. I wish I could put up a visual, but you see it week in and week out in the NFL. When the offensive linemen, they're not getting any slower, nor they're getting any smaller. So you'll have a guy that's 320 that's very athletic, a Trent Williams type guy. His technique is so good, you're blocked every time. And we saw that a lot against Kentucky. Long story short, that's what happened. Those guys were getting bumped out of their gaps. They were losing contain. They were getting double teamed, not getting the ball consistently. And that's 300. That's where 300 plus yards come from. So yeah, that's how it wasn't as stout and as solid as they needed to be up front against Kentucky.
I know Durante Jones got a lot of credit for changing up the strategy against Mississippi State. How do you think he bounced back the Auburn and Kentucky game with strategy? I think it was a lot of vanilla looks and really easy to scheme up, if you ask me.
I think what he can do this week is really I hope that they've done this week was really take that front seven and really tag down the basic fundamentals of playing with good technique and winning up front. Even Coach Carter, I can imagine, the practice periods was probably heavy that because it won't stop. Like, it's being put on film, it's working, so the opposing team is going to see that, and they're going to say, okay, we can run this play, we can run that play because this guy, he can't handle this block. He can't handle this combination block. They're pretty good in pass pro, so y'all strap on tight with that. They get after the quarterback, but in terms of run stop, we can run these sets of plays. That does two things, really, right? It eats the clock up. So we just keep scoring and we just keep stopping y'all, and we're going to keep running the ball because we see it works. So I think Coach Jones this week went in with the mindset, let me really focus on my guys up front to make sure that their technique is good. So you probably have a little bit more team inside run, little half-man action, just to really clean that stuff up front.
Fave, what do you think about the Saints 3-2 at the bye week?
They coasting, baby. This is a good position to be in. You lose only 2 games, having a rocky type situation, right, Hunt? You have all the injuries. You have guys on front suspended. So to get through that gauntlet, you lose to New York. No one expected that. and of course losing to Carolina the way they did. So I think the bye week helps the Saints, right? They get healthy. They get some guys back from injury and from suspension, particularly up front with David Onyemata. If you could take him inside the trenches for a quick second, that's a huge component up front, given the fact the game you did lose against New York, you had 0 sacks. So that played a major role, not being able to have someone that could not only play the run, but to get after the pass from the interior end. That'll help guys like Cam, be able to get his sack numbers up. So I think they use this week to get healthy. Even Hill, you know what I'm talking about. You're not injured, but you're hurting. So you take that week off, hit the ice tub, cold tub, go get a massage every other day just to work out some of those lactic acids. Still get your workout in. That in-season schedule when it's a bye week, spend some little time with your family and just get back to this schedule where you jump into a Seattle team who loses their superstar quarterback. So, yeah, I mean, the Saints are coasting, if you ask me.
You and Brandon going to behave yourselves tomorrow? I don't want to have to separate you two.
I don't know. See, Hunt, when I'm sitting next to G an offensive lineman, but he kind of sizzle up top, man. Brandon think he Popeye the Sailor Man up top, got some big arms. So he might come trying to throw the bowls when he's making points and stuff. So I don't know. You might have to, Hunt. You might have. No, Hunt, you're an edge guy. You like to sit on the edge. But, Brandon back, he thinks he's been lifting weights like he gets out of the play or something. I don't know. I don't know, man.
Man, DT on that bench press, man. You got to watch out.
We'll see you tomorrow morning, Fave.
See you tomorrow morning, brother. Thanks for getting the breakfast, so I'm on time. Hello.
That's it. Big Fave. We'll be tomorrow on the air at 9 o'clock from the TJ Ribs Tiger One Village between the ramps of the Assembly Center just across the street from Tiger Stadium. We go on the air at 9. Tigers come down the hill. Right about that time, the band follows them. It's a cool scene. It's going to be a gorgeous morning. If you're looking for something to do before the game, don't want to set the whole tailgate up. There's plenty to eat and drink right around the Tiger One Village. We're broadcasting, so you can check us out, get something cold to drink, something warm to eat. Check out the band and the team coming down the hill. It's a cool spot before you go into Tiger Stadium and watch Tigers and Gators. I've dug and dug and dug, and I've found some things that lead me to believe that LSU could possibly keep this thing close tomorrow. That's next on Hunt and Hill.
Holding down the middle of the day. This is Hunt and Hill. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
During these challenging times, we know your healthcare needs don't stop. Cancer, accidents, injuries, and heart disease are relentless. So we are relentlessly innovating to keep you safe, both virtually and in person. Connecting you with providers remotely, advancing clinical spaces, providing rapid and accurate testing, social distancing, and certified cleaning protocols. We are Auctioner, and we will not slow down. Auctioner Health, innovating healthcare.
Tonight, we invite you to celebrate life, wherever and whenever you can, understanding that time is never on our side. Instead, gather up your friends tonight and share a few stories and laughs over a good bottle of wine. Or maybe a family meal that gives everyone a chance to reconnect and remember what's really important, whether it's for a birthday, an anniversary, or simply to remind someone special that they are loved. Rafino's, where Louisiana comes to celebrate life.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience.
They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
It's week 7 in the prep football season, and we get you started Friday night with Louisiana Prep Preview presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. And then starting at 10 o'clock, it's a full 2 hours of the Lake Urgent Care Lake After Hours Louisiana Prep Scoreboard Show on YouTube, CST, and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Thanks to Big Faye for jumping aboard. I teased it to enter this segment. You ready for this?
Oh, let's do it.
I give you some reasons why LSU can keep this thing close. It's more so a roadmap to LSU keeping this thing close, because as you look at the matchups across the board, it looks very difficult for LSU. What Florida does well, LSU does not handle very well. And what LSU does pretty well, Florida is fairly equipped to take away. But one thing that could keep you in any game is turnovers. And Emory Jones has thrown an interception in all but one game this year. Thrown a couple twice. They try to make things simple and safe for him, but he still makes some questionable decisions at times and puts balls where they shouldn't be at times. So LSU does have some guys in the secondary that have some playmaking ability. Maybe you get an interception. Maybe you force a fumble and you get a short field. You punch one in. That happened last year. Eli Ricks gets a pick 6 on Trask in a game that LSU wasn't supposed to win, and you figure you got a chance to keep things moving. They picked Trask another time when the ball got tipped up and they caught it on the sideline. Turnovers can keep you in any game.
Oh, yeah. That's got to be what you need, especially when a team, you know, they want to run the ball. You know, they want to control the time of possession. It's no secret. They're trotting into town, and they know exactly what they're doing. And, you know, the same. In those type of situations, you got to force turnovers. You got to get a fumble here, maybe a special teams block kick. You got to do things to switch field position around. You got to do things to affect the momentum, and you got to do things to keep their offense off the field. And I think for our defense early on when we're playing Central Michigan and playing McNeese, it's easy to kind of cause those turnovers. They just haven't come consistently enough in these past few weeks. So I think it's going to be a perfect opportunity with the quarterbacks that they have, both of them. If you can keep them in obvious pass situations, I love our chances to pick one off, but that's going to be the hard part there. You know how good Dan Mullen is at keeping that thing third and short, third and 3, third and 4.
Other thing, I think offensively for LSU is that they made a living early in the season on big plays. And Florida has a pair of freshman cornerbacks that are going to play a good bit tomorrow. They do get Kyrie Elam back in the secondary, which is going to help them. But they do have a couple freshmen back there, and they're going to blitz a lot. And when you blitz and you put these guys on an island, that can create some opportunities for big plays. LSU's just going to have to hit them. And there are wide receivers out there that are capable of hitting big plays. Yeah. So, you don't have Kayshawn, you don't have Deion Smith for this game, but you've got Brian Thomas, you've got Malik Neighbors, Jack Bass made a couple plays down the field as well. There will be opportunities to make some big plays because of how aggressive Florida is on defense. Those are also something that could keep LSU in the game.
Yeah, that's what I saw all camp, and it seemed like, I don't know what it is. I don't know if obviously he's not getting hit at practice, so he could probably throw a lot better deep ball. But Max seemed to throw those deep balls to those guys in camp just at a way higher clip. You just saw it play after play, time and time again. You hear Hester talk about Malik Neighbors in the scrimmages. He's going crazy. That rapport just kind of left. He picked it up with Kayshawn, but I think with Kayshawn being out, it's going to open up a phenomenal opportunity for some of these younger receivers to really get their opportunities to make some plays. And I think Max trusts him. We saw him throwing it deep to Malik on time and time again. So I think he's got to give those guys, more opportunities to make plays. So I think for us as an offensive line, just continue to get better. I think they played better in the second half. Obviously, rushing 3 a ton, but whatever confidence you can get, you'll take it at this point. And I think also in the run game, TDP got a ton of confidence as well in the run game that he can go in an SEC game and rush for what he did. So hopefully some of those things can transfer over, because you're going to need everything you can to beat this Florida team.
I started looking for commonalities between the loss to Alabama and the loss to Kentucky for Florida, and one of them was the kicking game. Against Florida, against Alabama, they missed an extra point that forced them to go for 2 at the end, and they didn't get it. If you make the extra point, you've tied the game. And then against Kentucky, obviously, the difference in that game was a blocked kick return for a touchdown. So the kicking game, where LSU is very sound, Florida has essentially kind of given 2 games away because of it. Maybe that's the place where LSU's got an advantage.
You see Jay Ward week in and week out.
Yeah.
He's coming off that edge. He blocked one last season. He blocked one this season.
Yep.
That's something that we can do. So I definitely wouldn't rule that out, especially at home. If you get a big stop on 3rd down, you force them to kick a field goal on 4th, you got a great opportunity, and that's what you're going to need. Maybe Cousin Trey can, take one back to the house. I wouldn't mind seeing that. To me, this is, kind of forming up to be one of those games to where if LSU's going to come out on top, they're going to either need a special teams touchdown, some sort of block punt, some sort of block kick, maybe some turnovers, just something to really swing the momentum around, get you going, get you feeling good, and get the fans into it. Because, you start bad and Florida goes up a couple scores, that thing's got to be emptying out at a rapid rate.
So I figured it out. Just get 3 or 4 turnovers, hit 5 or 6 big plays in the passing game, and then block a kick and run it back for a touchdown. LSU would be in really, really good shape to win the game tomorrow. I've figured it out. I've cracked the code. Look, make me the coach. I'll figure this thing out. All right, we'll get to the NFL schedule to finish off hour number 1. It's Hunt and Hill.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge with Hunt and Hill. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Our topic today is about savings. What is savings?
Hancock Whitney isn't just a bank for our clients. We're investing in our hometowns, making life better for everyone. So keep dreaming. We've got your back.
To the heroes who are working tirelessly to care for our communities, we thank you. We will never forget the countless hours you dedicated on the front lines, choosing to risk your own health to fight for our friends, neighbors, and family members.
I mean, you guys are out on the front lines fighting it.
We are grateful for your heroic acts and unwavering spirit. Together, we are overcoming this adversity and make our state healthier and more vibrant again. Ochsner Health.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law office of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Yo, Jake here for Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic, the place that's going to be convenient for you during an inconvenient time. Look, you hear me talk about my 4 boys all the time, and sometimes things like stitches, well, they happen. And in fact, they have. And Patient Plus is always taking care of us, just like they'll do the same for you. And now with 7 convenient locations across the Baton Rouge area, open from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m., 7 days a week. And also at patientplusuc.com, you can sign up for your appointment on the way to the clinic. That's Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic. Get in and get better.
Front to Back Boat Service has been family owned and operated for 30 years. And the Sherman family is NMEA certified. That's the National Marine Electronics Association at Front to Back. They are committed to improving the safety and technology of marine electronics through installer training, interface standards. And look, the fall and the winter, it's the perfect time to do that yearly maintenance you've been putting off. Get those parts you've been wanting. So schedule your appointment today at Front to Back, North Airway off of Airline Highway.
If home is where the heart is, a roof is a shield. That's why for over 25 years, South Louisiana always turns
on Mondays, Off the Bench. We recap the football weekend, including LSU versus Florida and Week 6 in the NFL. Plus, we look ahead to Saints Seahawks, and we had the latest edition of Weekend Winners. Off the Bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Let's run through our NFL tier list rather quickly. Saints and Falcons on a bye this week. Jets and Niners also on a bye, first bye week of the year. Not a great NFL slate, if I'm being quite honest with you, Jeremy. I'll look at a lot of quad 3 and 4s. Of course, quad 4 is the worst. Quad 1 is the best. In tier 4, Dolphins at Jags in London. I put this in tier 4 mainly because the Jaguars are in it, but more significantly because it's in London and I hate the London games.
Did you see what Trevor Lawrence said?
No.
He said, I find it very ironic that we're playing a team in Florida in London.
Yeah,
like,
that
what
is.
are we doing? That is weird.
Money grab for the NFL. Let's go to London. Sick. All right. Texans and Colts also for me in tier 4. Just not a very interesting game in a bad division.
Yeah, that's man. I think it's gonna be a long day for Fields. I think Rodgers he has his way with these rookie quarterbacks.
You didn't listen to what I said. I said Texans and Colts.
Texans and Colts. Oh, I'm sorry, Texans and Colts. My bad. My brain is totally fried. I'm looking at this ESPN thing. Texans Colts. Yeah, that's gonna be bad. The Colts really I thought they'd be a lot more competitive this year. I thought their defense would be able to keep them in games. I thought Carson Wentz would be eager to prove that he hasn't fallen off that MVP level that he's been at. That's just not going to be a fun game to watch.
Tier 3 is packed here with some mediocre football. Bengals at the 0-5 Lions. Coach might cry again.
Oh, man. It's a rough start, man. You have that roster. It's not looking good. It's not looking good. And you got Joey B coming into town, man.
Bengals,
good luck to you.
3.5-point favorites in Detroit. See if they can move to 4-2. The Rams are at the Giants. That's going to be – I didn't make my Survivor pick yesterday. That is my Survivor pick. I want to go on the record. I'm taking the Rams against the Giants in the Survivor pool this week. Y'all are eliminated, so you don't count. You don't get a voice. But what do you think about that one?
Yeah, that's going to be – especially with Danny Dimes out, that should be a long day for the Giants. It's the NFL. You never know what happens, but I intend on that being a double-digit game for sure.
The 2-3 Chiefs are headed to Washington, which is not as good on defense as we thought they would be. You like the Chiefs in that one headed to Washington?
Yeah, I like the Chiefs, man. I think if there's a hill I ever was going to die on, it's that the Chiefs aren't going to be bad and they're not going to be a non-playoff team. So I'll ride that out till they're totally eliminated from contention. I just think the Chiefs have too much talent on their roster to be what they are. So, yes, I believe in the Chiefs.
We'll see what the Raiders can do to respond. They're playing the Broncos. That's a fair game in a solid division.
Yeah, two probably really closely evenly matched teams. You look at the talent roster. That's going to be a tough division game. I'm sure the NFL has it probably -3 for the Denver just for home field, if I'm at the guess.
Yep.
Yeah, that's probably right. That's a pick'em game. It just depends on who shows up and plays well.
Cowboys and Patriots. See if the Cowboys can stay hot. They're 4-1. The Patriots are 2-3. Have not been very good on offense. Dallas is laying 3 points. I would lean Dallas in that one.
Yeah, it's just the style Bills kind of trying to bring it back to the early 2000s when Tom was young, and that's play defense and try to run the ball and use a little play action game. And just not enough points, man, in this league, especially with the way the rules are set up. You're going to have to score points consistently to win time and time again, and that just hasn't been this Pats offense. Their defense is giving them chances, but you got to be able to score 20-plus a week, and that's just not where they are right now.
2-3 Vikings, 2.5-point favorites over the 3-2 Panthers in Charlotte. How do you see that one?
Man, the Vikings team that really could, their record could definitely easily be turned around. They could be a 4-1, 3-2 team easily. A ton of talent still on that roster, and obviously the Panthers really taking a step back after that big win against the Saints at home. So both of these teams really need this win, and I honestly it could go either way. I don't really know what to pick, but if I had to, I'd probably go Panthers.
Let's go to Tier 2 here. This is some better football, but not a lot of games here. The Cardinals are at the Browns. That's two really good teams. Cardinals the last unbeaten. Do they stay that way?
I think so. With Chubb being out, Chubb's not playing, and then obviously just Baker not really having that rapport with Odell like you would need. With Jarvis being out, I don't know if they can score enough to keep up with this offense. Their defense, the Cleveland's defense, anytime they're playing a quarterback with a pulse, they haven't been as advertised. So Mahomes hit him up for a bunch, and Herbert hit him up for a bunch. I see Kyler doing the same. So I don't think their offense can score enough.
Get to a window. The Browns are 3.5-point favorites in that game, so you can make a little cash. Packers and Bears, one of the biggest rivalries in the sport. The Bears are 3-2. They're not good, but they're 3-2.
Yeah, that they are skinning by the skin of their teeth getting some of these wins. The quarterback having 80 passing yards, winning football games, is stuff you just would never think you see at the NFL level. But their defense is playing tough. They're getting turnovers, and that's what's keeping them in these games. So I don't know, man. Fields has definitely got to have to step up his play, or things could definitely go left real fast.
I think the loser of the Sunday night game is in big trouble. The Seahawks are 2-3. They go on the road to the 2-3 Steelers. I think one of these teams is going to 2-4, and I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. Yeah,
Steelers, obviously, Coach Tomlin teams, man, they're resilient. I think that's kind of what we say about this LSU team. Steelers look 1-3 to start the year, looking like they didn't really have a fight and didn't really have a pulse, looking like they were going to be one of the worst teams in football, and they have a bounce back performance against a good team in this league. So I like the Steelers, especially at home. No Russell Wilson, no Mr. Unlimited. Steelers got to find a way to get that done.
Game of the weekend for me is one of the noon kicks, and it'll be the only game that I have in Tier 1. Chargers at the Ravens should be a high-scoring game, I would think. The Ravens are 2.5-point favorites. I try to say San Diego. I like Los Angeles. I think the Chargers are really good.
Yeah, only thing that worries me a little bit about the Chargers, they're letting teams score a little too much for my liking. Chiefs putting up almost 30 on them last week, giving them 40+. That's going to bite you one game. If Herbert has a pick or if they turn it over and you're giving up that many, it's going to bite you. But like I said all week, man, Herbert's top 5 in this league right now. I don't care how many games he's played. It's just eye test, just looking at the numbers, looking what he does. That kid can make every throw. He does everything. But trust is right there up with him. MVP candidate as well. It's going to be 2 MVP candidates going right at it. If I had to pick, I'd go Baltimore just for home field, and I think their defense is just slightly better than the Chargers.
Buccaneers get the win last night, 28-22. I thought Leonard looked really good last night.
Had him on my bench. Had Leonard on my bench, man. Just watching him rack up the yards, racking them up, getting touchdowns, catches out the backfield, just doing everything you want your fantasy running back to do. But that was a great game by Leonard. That's what they're going to need. If you can, stick it in a Leonard, 15 to 20 times a game, and you got the GOAT back there making decisions, they're going to be tough. They're not going anywhere. They got JPP back, and that seemed to give their defense a boost. Bucks are definitely powerhouse this year.
Antonio Brown has kind of found his groove too. They've taken some guys who were unhappy other places and made it work. It's not surprising when you play with Brady, but that's that's what's happening, and they're rolling a little bit right now.
Yeah, winning cures all, man. You'd be surprised what kind of gets overlooked, what kind of doesn't get talked about, and everything feels good, everything tastes good. Everyone has swag. Everyone's on social media posting, getting everything out there. It's a great time to be a football player when you're winning, and so that's what the Bucs have done at a high rate since last year, and they feel good about themselves. So they're gonna get some guys back from injury as well, and once that team's running at full health, man, they're gonna be scary.
I would think that winning a Thursday night game is really good for the weekend. I think you turn it up a little bit on the weekend.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a different, especially if you're going to your college game. Everyone's saying, "Oh yeah, we saw y'all Thursday." Everything's just good. You get your butts kicked. It's just a different type of weekend. So winning definitely helps with that.
That'll do it for hour number one. Loaded hour number two. We'll start things off looking at the SEC and what we're expecting to see on the field on Saturday, and we'll talk a little bit more about LSU and Florida as well. If you missed anything in the first hour, and gave you our NFL tiers right there. I gave you my roadmap to how LSU can keep this thing close at 12:30. See if you can go back and buy that one. Big Fave joined us at 12:15. He's going to be back with me on the LSU Sports Radio Network tomorrow. And we started with a lot of LSU and Florida talk about how this matchup is a little bit rough. Tomorrow, reminder that Jeremy and Matt will be on 7 to 9 on Eagle 98.1 Game Day. I will take the reins from 9 to 11 before we get you ready for LSU and Florida. That's on the LSU Sports Radio Network. I'll be with you 30 minutes after it goes final for an hour on the post-game report on the LSU Sports Radio Network, and then we'll toss things to Eagle 98 Game Day's post-game show. That will be 90 minutes after the game for 3 hours because of the morning kickoff. That's Charles Hannengriff and Richard Condon. But for right now, we got one more hour to get you through the weekend. Come back with us on Hunt and Hill. This is 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Starting in 1974, Central Plumbing has served Baton Rouge and surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Through these tough and trying times, we want you to remember that the Payne family is here to continue to support and serve you. As a multi-generational business, there is no job that is too big or too small. Residential, commercial, industrial, hospitality, we're here for anything you need. 24/7, 365. Give us a call, 225-925-8552.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
Tonight, we invite you to celebrate life, wherever and whenever you can, understanding that time is never on our side. Instead, gather up your friends tonight and share a few stories and laughs over a good bottle of wine. Or maybe a family meal that gives everyone a chance to reconnect and remember what's really important, whether it's for a birthday, an anniversary, or simply to remind someone special that they are loved. Ruffino's, where Louisiana comes to celebrate life.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Injury lawyers. Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hour number 2 on a football Friday, Hunt and Hill. Time now to look at what's going on in the SEC. LSU in Florida, of course, an 11 a.m. start in Tiger Stadium. Going to be a gorgeous day on campus. That part I am excited about. I'm going to get out there to campus. We're on at 9 o'clock, and we'll have the pull-over on. It's going to be nice out there.
Man, you love it. You just love it. You would love the team to have a lot better record going into it,
Yes.
but you definitely can't pass it up. Like I said earlier this week, you only get 7 or 8 times a year to do this, to go out and, see the band, see the team walk down the hill, just smell the green grass. That's what I love. Just smelling the green grass, getting on the field, just really taking in those football Saturdays. And the Tigers get an opportunity to, get a bad taste out of their mouth. So I'm excited to see how we bounce back and do that.
There's significant intrigue in every single game in the SEC this week except one. Every other one, is interesting. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, everybody's playing, so nobody's off this week. It is an interesting slate, so we'll kind of run through it. The other interesting 11 o'clock game, Auburn traveling up to Arkansas. Obviously, Arkansas licking its wounds a little bit. You're riding high. You go to Athens and get absolutely clobbered. Then you play a solid football game last week. You lose at the end to Ole Miss. On the last play of the game, you score a touchdown. You go for 2 to win it. First of all, did you support Sam Pittman's attempt to go for 2 and go for the win there?
Oh, I loved it. You got 50 points. Like, we can't get 2 yards after we scored 50 and put them out of yards and done what we've done to this Ole Miss defense. You got to feel good about that, especially on the road. You want to steal one, feel like you got away and stole one. Having that amount of time on the clock and still being able to go get 7, got to go for 2. I was not upset with that at all.
So here's Arkansas's deal. We just mentioned what they've just gone through. They've got this game at home against Auburn. If they win this game against Auburn at home, then they play Arkansas Pine Bluff the next Saturday. They're going to win that game. Then you get an open date, and you can exhale. You've gone through at Georgia, at Ole Miss, home Auburn, then you got Pine Bluff, and you get an open date. You can rest, relax, exhale. Then you play a home game against Mississippi State. They can win that game. Then they are at LSU. They can win that game. They're not going to beat Alabama. And then they finish with Missouri. 9-3 is right in front of them if they can handle their business this week. And that is not something I had even close to imagined for Arkansas. So as you look at this Arkansas-Auburn game, what do you think about them?
Man, I didn't think their defense is – I know it's A&M has been up and down, kind of like the Saints football team this year, but the way they played against A&M, I didn't think their defense would be like they were last week, but also didn't think their offense could be as explosive as they were last week. So I think they're probably somewhere in the middle. Their offense isn't going to score 50 a game. Their defense probably isn't going to give up 50 a game. So with them being somewhere in the middle, that puts them in every SEC game outside of Alabama. If you can score a ton of points, you're going to be right there. And then if you can get some stops. So I like this Arkansas team. I think with KJ Jefferson, playing the way he played last week, they're probably gaining a world of confidence that they got a quarterback that they can trust to make big throws and use his legs.
Who do you think's the best running back in the league?
Best running back in the league, man. I think Spiller from A&M. If I had to pick just eye test wise and just looking at him, I think Spiller's probably the guy.
Would you put Tank Bixby in the discussion?
Yeah, he's right there.
He has put it in neutral. Georgia State, 18 carries for 60 yards. LSU, 9 carries for 27 yards. Georgia, 10 carries, 28 yards. They can't get him going. That's my biggest problem with them right now. That's their identity on offense. And Jarquez Hunter's really good, but you're putting a lot on Bo Nix's plate if they can't get that running game going. And that concerns me entering this game against Auburn.
Yeah, that's who we were more fearful for going into the LSU Auburn game was Bigsby. We thought he could really hurt us, and we didn't think it would be Bo Nix running around like Manziel. So that's going to be what they have to get back to if Auburn wants any success. I know Hunter's their big play back, but if Bigsby's grinding you out, just getting that 20 carry game for 100+, it's going to put Auburn in a phenomenal situation to run a ton of clock, let Bo Nix not be in positions time and time again to have to throw the football. And that's going to be their recipe for winning football games. So I know they're going to be eager. You run into Georgia, that's probably not a great team to try to get the run game going against. So hopefully, watching what Ole Miss did to Arkansas's rush defense last week, that gives them some confidence.
The line has moved to 0.5 point since we did the show on Wednesday, but we both liked Arkansas at 4.5. If it moves to 5, I still like Arkansas. This is a long stretch for them, and I've been adamant that I'm not a huge buyer in Arkansas, but I do like them in this game. You still like them?
Yeah, I do, because I think Mr. Manziel's coming back to earth. He had that one good game at Tiger Stadium, and he's had those games in his career, sprinkled here and there, where he just puts it all together and plays his tail off. But I think the consistency you see from Bo Nix is going to continue to show up, and I think it shows up tomorrow.
A&M's coming off the biggest win they've had, probably since, maybe Florida last year or, last year in the game against Alabama in 2012.
2012.
Yeah, 2012. Yeah. And so this would kind of be a trout spot going on the road to probably what's not going to be a great crowd at 11 o'clock in the morning at Missouri. They're not thrilled with what's going on in their football program. Any worries the Ags might slip up here?
Shout out the old Bayou for chat. I think I had Keaton in the chat saying A&M better watch out for Mizzou, thinking Mizzou's going to run through them. I don't know what that defense, man. I think A&M just hands the ball off to whoever they want to hand it off to and just let them have a day. Mizzou's rush defense is just god-awful. They're terrible. Boston College just ran it down their throat for whatever the heck they wanted to run it down for. You see what North Texas was doing to them in the second half. I just don't know. I don't have any faith in Missouri to this point. I picked them like a crazy man. But so I learned my lesson with that. So until they show me different, I can't roll with Mizzou on anything.
Yeah, we were both on A&M on Wednesday, and I still am too, because if there's one thing that can help you snap a trap game, and I use air quotes, it's if you can just hand the ball off and go. And that's what they're going to be able to do. That offensive line has not been very good this year, and then all of a sudden it showed up against Alabama, and they won the line of scrimmage against what is now an Alabama defensive front that it's lighter than they have been in a long time, and they're showing it on the ground. Florida obviously ran it on them. A&M showed there's some chinks in that armor as well. So yeah, I like Texas A&M in that game as well. 2:30 CBS game. Everybody and their mother is on Georgia in this game. Kentucky is 6-0 for the first time in 70 years, and they are headed to Athens. 21.5 is the number on this game, and everybody is on the dogs.
Didn't I take Kentucky in this?
No, I did.
You
took Georgia.
I took Georgia. Oh, I'm kind of. All right, let's go. Let's go, Georgia. Let's go, dogs. Come on, Kirby. I've been sipping Kirby juice all year. Why would I stop sipping the juice now? Come on, Kirby. I think it's rich. It's very, very rich. That's a high number, but I don't know. I don't know if Levis, man. Levis played well. I know he only competed 14 plus, but those 14 were when he needed them. Big third downs, big red zone touchdowns. I don't know if he can do that against Georgia, and that's going to cause a lot of trouble.
I was off of Arkansas when they went in there. I said they were going to get crushed, and they did. And most everybody feels the same way about Kentucky. There's recency bias with me in Kentucky because of what we just watched.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that, and that's probably why I'm on the wrong side here by taking Kentucky. But I just think they're solid enough to keep it within 20. I mean, it was 23 when we did this on Wednesday. I think they can lose by 3 touchdowns. I really do. That may be crazy, and Georgia's throttling people, but it's going to come down to Levis. I think Kentucky will run it a little bit better than some other teams have. I think they'll run it better than Arkansas did. I think they're a little bit better up front, their zone blocking scheme, and I think they've got a couple backs that can do it. It is going to come down to Levis not turning the ball over and making some plays. I realize all last week we sat here and said their quarterback stinks. He's been terrible for 3 weeks. It's not going to happen. He played a little bit better last week. That's what it's going to take. And I think defensively, again, they're solid. I don't think they're going to give up huge plays in the passing game. They've been better than anybody in the conference and not allowing big plays. And all that leads to, I think, maybe a lower scoring game that has got to keep me within 23 points. That's just what I think. But look,
Yeah.
I'm the only one on this side, so I probably don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. If they show up and play their tails off, it's definitely possible if they can get a run game, but no one has gotten a run game going against Georgia, and that just doesn't bode well for that offense. Your quarterback, you win a game away by 21 points, and you only pass it 17 times. It just lets you see what their offense does well, and I think what they do well fits perfectly to what Georgia has stopped well, and that's the run. So it's going to be Levis, and I just don't think he can do enough.
This is a random aside. What are your thoughts on defensive players getting Heisman votes? A lot of people are on Jordan Davis saying he's the best player in the country, just blowing things up in the middle of the line.
I don't mind. I never had that infatuation for the one position deserves the Heisman. I was the one pounding the table for Tyron to win the Heisman, and I think he had just the best case as anybody, just the catalyst on an undefeated team that's going to play in the national championship. To me, if you're that guy, it doesn't matter what position you're playing. You walk into Tiger Stadium, you knew 7 was going to make some plays. So I don't have an issue with it.
So RG3 won that Heisman, and if Tyron got tackled at the 1-yard line in Morgantown right before the half, which would have been another touchdown, and if he stays on his feet on the second punt return against Georgia and adds 2 more touchdowns to that, I don't know if he wins it, but he might have gotten close.
Yeah.
I mean, as it stood, he didn't. But if he returned 2 punts for touchdowns the last week where votes were being brought in a game where his offense literally did not get a first down in the first half, and he has 2 more touchdowns to his ledger as a defensive player and a punt returner, I think he'd have had a chance.
Yeah, he definitely would have, man. I don't know how many first place votes he got. I have to go back and look that up, but that was a thing, man. That Honey Badger wave, just is how that swept the country, and just how that energy. To me, he had everything going. You need a little buzz, you need a little media love, you need all that stuff, and he had it. And obviously, your team being undefeated doesn't hurt at all. Man, I don't know how he didn't win it. Just so they hating on us Tigers down here, but we got Joey B to back that up, so we're good.
They couldn't lock him out the door. It was the largest margin of victory ever. The one game that stinks, Vanderbilt and South Carolina. Vanderbilt, I got to tell you, that is an impressive effort being 18-point dogs to South Carolina. That is a strong performance before you even step on the field.
Oh, man, I wanted to take Vandy, but I just can't. It's just so bad. Like, there's a reason why Vegas is open, man. Like, what do you do with that line?
I got bad news for you.
Oh, man. Who did I take? I took Vandy? Oh, man. What am I doing? I got to cover ground. I remember my methods. Yeah, I had to cover ground. That was my method to my madness.
You said I got to catch up to you, so we got to take Vandy. Good luck with that. I'm on the Gamecocks. Let's roll. All right.
Oh,
and again, one we haven't talked about a lot this week, but interesting. Bama headed to Starkville. I'm sure practice was not all that much fun under Coach Saban this week. I'm sure Alabama's going to be focused. They've lost after their last 9 losses. They've come back and absolutely throttled people by an average of about 28 points. Mississippi State, pretty comfortable with what they're doing. Alabama not playing all that well by their standard. This is a 17-point line in Starkville. What do you think?
The worst thing, well, I guess the best thing in Nick Saban's eyes, he doesn't have to worry about rat poison this week. They're probably getting the honest truth about how they've been playing, and so he doesn't have to worry about that this week. The Tide losing, I know they're going to be getting all of Bama's attention this week. I like the 17, man. I just think, I don't know. I don't see enough from Mississippi State's defense to, especially if Bryce Young takes care of the ball. I don't think they can stop Bama from getting to 40. I just don't see it.
How many points do you think Mississippi State's going to score in this game?
If they're lucky, 21, but I think about 17.
That would mean 35-17 gets there. And that's pretty much what Vegas is calling for. It's a 58-point number. That sounds about right. We're both on Mississippi State in this game based on Wednesday with a 17-point number. I just think that Leach's team I think they'll get first downs. Don't know if they'll score touchdowns. That's the problem. I mean, they're comfortable completing those 4-yard passes. Rodgers has bought into that totally, and they're not going to try to take deep shots down the field. They're just going to keep things around the line of scrimmage and safe. And I think it's teams that are the teams that gave Alabama trouble are the teams that are running the football, and Mississippi State's not even going to try to do that. So I think the number is exactly right. Again, I'm taking the points at home just because I think that it's going to be a good atmosphere, and I think Mississippi State will move the ball a little bit. I just don't know if they'll score touchdowns enough to make it a competitive game, outside an actual game, as opposed to just looking at the number.
Yeah, I'll take a little note from the Oddfather from earlier this year, and he's been right on that. These freshman quarterbacks playing in road environments, if it's a heavy number, you pick against it, and that's what Bryce Young, you watched him against Florida. He didn't play well that second half. Obviously, last week he put them in position to be down by a ton and had to come back. So that's going to be, again this week. It's going to be the Cowbells. It's going to be his first time actually going to Starkville. So let's see, man. I think it's going to be Mississippi State's way of controlling time of possession. They're doing it by the air, but they're trying to keep your offense off the field and go on long drives, and hopefully they can score. So we'll see. I think it's rich, but I don't think Bama's played well on the road this year.
Speaking of heavy numbers, the over-under in the nightcap is 82 between Ole Miss and Tennessee. That has got to be the highest in the history of the Southeastern Conference. It has to be. 82.
Oof, man, but honestly, I haven't seen them play anyone with a pulse. But right now, if someone made me pick between whose defense is better, I'd say Tennessee just a little bit, but they really haven't played anyone either. So I can really see both of these offenses getting up there really fast, really quick.
So here's my deal with this game. Everyone is going to look at Tennessee, and we know they scored 28 points in the first quarter in back-to-back weeks, and they're going fast, and they're scoring a bunch, and they finished the last 2 weeks with 62 and 45. And then they'll say, yeah, but Missouri sucks, and so does South Carolina. Those teams suck. And that's right. But does Ole Miss's defense suck? I mean, it's possible. Yeah. They gave up 50 last week to Arkansas.
Yeah.
Alabama went up and down the field. Now, they didn't have to go that far because Kevin was giving them the ball in plus. But maybe Ole Miss's defense sucks too, and so that's where Tennessee's going to score a lot of points. And I tend to believe that's going to be the case. The line's 2.5. Just about everybody's on Ole Miss in this one. I'm taking the home dog here. I like Tennessee in this game. I think they're going to score a lot of points. It's going to be a shootout. The X factor is probably, though, going to be, would you rather go out there with Hendon Hooker, or would you rather go out there with Matt Corral, who is probably the Heisman favorite right now, and for good reason. He wasn't terrible against Alabama. The team was, but he wasn't awful. He just wasn't great. It's probably the wrong side, but I'm taking it.
Yeah, I like Ole Miss in this one. I think you said it best in the take. Quarterbacks. If it's an even matched team, it's pretty much who quarterbacks takes care of the ball and what quarterback plays better. Who can you trust to have the ball in their hands, especially in the crunch time? I think this is going to be a one-possession game all the way through. It's going to be a lot of scoring back and forth, jockeying for position. Turnovers are going to play a big role, but I like Matt, man. I think Lane knows what he has. He's not going to be scared to run the points up and go for it on his side of the field. He did it again last week. He got it. They converted this time, but Lane doesn't mind going for it on his own 30. I think it's fun to watch. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't love it if it was my team, but I love watching it.
Look, I'll tell you something. I'll be done at about 4 o'clock tomorrow after the postgame show's over, headed out to the aunt and uncle's house. Parents are in town, going to cook some steaks. Alabama, Mississippi State, and Ole Miss, Tennessee is a nice little nighttime, game watching experience with a cocktail. I'm going to enjoy the heck out of tomorrow evening watching some entertaining football. One, I feel like I can watch Alabama, Mississippi State, and if I don't really want to watch Alabama because they're routing them, I can flip over to Ole Miss, Tennessee. That's guaranteed to be entertaining, if nothing else.
Oh yeah. You're gonna see a ton of points scored, a ton of fourth down convergence teams going for it, knowing that you need the points. I don't really see, unless it's 4th and 8, I don't see Lane ever punting. He's gonna be going for it every chance he gets, especially with Tennessee's offense playing the way they are. So it's gonna be a fun game to watch.
Second time out, come back, talk a little bit more college football on a Friday. It's Hunt and Hill.
Serving up the latest from the sports world. It's Hunt and Hill. We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Our topic today is about savings. What is savings? Hancock Whitney isn't just a bank for our clients. We're investing in our hometowns, making life better for everyone. So keep dreaming. We've got your back.
During these challenging times, we know your healthcare needs don't stop. Cancer, accidents, injuries, and heart disease are relentless. So we are relentlessly innovating to keep you safe, both virtually and in person, connecting you with providers remotely, advancing clinical spaces, providing rapid and accurate testing, social distancing, and certified cleaning protocols. We are Auctioner, and we will not slow down. Auctioner Health, innovating healthcare.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law office of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Yo, Jake here for Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic, the place that's going to be convenient for you during an inconvenient time. Look, you hear me talk about my four boys all the time, and sometimes things like stitches, well, they happen. And in fact, they have. And Patient Plus is always taking care of us, just like they'll do the same for you. And now with 7 convenient locations across the Baton Rouge area, open from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m., 7 days a week. And also at patientplusuc.com, you can sign up for your appointment on the way to the clinic. That's Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic. Get in and get better.
Le posso offrire un caffè. Andiamo insieme da me.
Coming up on a Football Friday edition of Early Line, Ariel Epstein joins the show to talk props. We give the rest of our weekend picks, and we give our final thoughts on LSU, Florida. Early Line, 2 p.m., 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Do a little over-under here coming up in the next segment, but I want to touch on a couple of national storylines this week. It's not the greatest national slate of games outside of the SEC, which, as we just mentioned, is really, really good. Oregon plays tonight against a bad Cal team. They're 2-touchdown favorites up in Eugene. What do you think of Oregon in terms of do you think they're going to run the table, or do you think that they'll get busted?
I think they could definitely lose another game. that was just a huge Herculean effort that they put on in the shoe against Ohio State. But
they were the better team that day. There was nothing fluky about that. They were better than Ohio State that day.
They were, but that Stanford game just gives me so much cause for concern. You got a perfect opportunity. A Stanford team that's reeling, that's lost games, that they're wondering about their head coach situation. You got a perfect opportunity to do something special. To be hands down, no ifs, ands, or buts. We are getting in the college football playoff, and you squander that, especially this early on. It just lets me know that was probably an emotional letdown. And to have that early on in the season with something so big and special in front of you, it gives me a little cause for concern. But I love their head coach. I think Cristobal's a great coach, but I don't think they'll run the table.
The issue with Oregon is that the most difficult games on their schedule, while they're not against ranked teams, are all away from home. Cal is terrible. They got them at home. Colorado is atrocious. They've got them at home. Washington State is bad. They've got them at home. But they're at UCLA, who is not very good, but they're one of the better teams in the Pac-12. They're at Utah, who's obviously, generally speaking, a pretty good team. They're at Washington as well, who has an ugly loss, but is a reasonable team. But they are the hope for the Pac-12 at this point. We'll see them play tonight. Another thing that I want to mention, because both these is Oklahoma and Ohio State, while they've lost early games and Oklahoma hasn't looked very good, they are far from dead soldiers in this thing. And because of their talent advantage over the teams that are remaining on their schedule, they're very much right in the mix for this playoff thing. And I know it's fun to talk about Cincinnati and what they're going to do, and we talk about BYU and what they're going to do, and what now Alabama's got a lot, but those teams are very much right in the mix for this thing. Oklahoma's got to figure out what they're doing at quarterback, but they're better than everybody else they play.
Yeah, that's why they're in it year in and year out. They slipped up once this year, but their confidence is just not tough, man. It's not stacked to the top to the bottom. Very top heavy. You look through some of the teams after 3 and 4, it's not a lot of wins. You add up these teams to win, it's not going to be very high. So if you're Oklahoma State, if you're Ohio State, you're feeling really good about yourself, especially at this point, because you just got to handle business. Take it 1 week at a time, and you're going to have a chance to get in the big dance at the end of the season. So especially for Oklahoma, I think for them that's a great situation. You got a kid who everyone thought was going to be the number 1 pick in the draft, Heisman finalist, and then you got a kid on the bench that just outplayed him by a ton. Yep. So that's not really a bad spot to be in if you're Lincoln Riley and the crew.
I made a promise after the 2019 season that I was going to pull for all the pieces from that puzzle as they moved on. The Bengals guy, Joe Burrow, want to see Jamar do great things. I'm pulling for Dave Aranda and Joe Brady as they move on in their careers. And so Dave Aranda's got a big one for his Baylor team. BYU, while they dropped the game against Boise last week, had knocked off a couple of ranked teams at the time in Utah and Arizona State, and was looking like, oh, man, this is a team that may show up and be the best non-Power 5 team. And then they lost to Boise State last week. But they're going to Baylor, and we'll see if Dave Aranda's team can pull off a big victory. Got any thoughts on Baylor and BYU?
Yeah, I know Coach Aranda is coaching them to be definitely a fundamentally sound football team. They're not going to beat themselves up with penalties. Obviously, being 5-1, that's a very great start for the year for Baylor. I know people weren't really expecting that, and I think BYU is shocking a lot of people too. So this is going to be a great competitive game. I think BYU edges them just slightly, like what I've seen from BYU, but I would not be shocked if Coach Aranda and the crew find a way to get this done at home.
And then something I'm going to pay attention to just week to week, because they are who they are, is Iowa. They play Purdue this week, who's not very good. Purdue's already lost to Notre Dame and Minnesota this year. But Iowa, to me, feels like a team that's just going to lose a game that we weren't even paying attention to. They've won some games that we were paying attention to with Iowa State, and game day was there. Huge top 5 game with Penn State. Those are the games we are paying attention to. Iowa feels like the team that's going to lose one when no one's even watching. Like, oh, Iowa lost? What? Is Purdue that team? I don't think so, but it's bound to happen in my opinion.
So you're saying they're going to pull a Oklahoma State from 2011?
Don't talk about that, please. It's Friday. The weather's good. I'm going to the box later. I don't want to talk about that game.
I got you, but that's what it reminds me of. A team that everyone's ranked high, running high all season, and they lose to someone they had no business losing to. So I could definitely see Iowa doing the same because their offense just isn't as explosive as I thought. They can beat up on the Sisters of the Poor, but when they're going against real teams, their offense really hasn't been that explosive.
So I don't think it's against Purdue. At Wisconsin's one that everybody would probably look at, Iowa-Wisconsin game. Then they're at Northwestern in the first weekend in November. That's one I would look at. And then all of a sudden you look up and Northwestern's got a 10-point lead at the start of the fourth quarter, and you're going, oh, that's the one. Iowa's not capable of going undefeated, so they lose at Northwestern. I don't think it's this week against Purdue at home, but sometime or another that's going to happen. Let's take a timeout, come back, we'll do some over-unders. That's next on Hunt and Hill.
Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, Hunt and Hill. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law office of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Yo, Jake here for Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic, the place that's going to be convenient for you during an inconvenient time. Look, you hear me talk about my 4 boys all the time, and sometimes things like stitches, well, they happen. And in fact, they have. And Patient Plus is always taking care of us, just like they'll do the same for you. And now with 7 convenient locations across the Baton Rouge area, open from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m., 7 days a week. And also at patientplusuc.com, you can sign.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for a Football Friday edition of AFR presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
Phil Steele will be with us. The Riot Radio Hours return, and we will have a cooked gator in studio. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Let's do a little over-under here, Jay Hill. I got a couple typed up here for the LSU-Florida contest on Saturday morning. Start with Ty Davis Price carries at 18.
Ooh, 18 against Florida. Taking the under on that one, man. I would love that. That would be great news for us. Either great or terrible news. It means they're letting us run the ball like last week or running it down their throats. I just got to take the under on that. I just haven't seen enough for me to really feel good about anything as far as this run game goes to back anything. So I'm going to take the under.
Look, he made a big deal last week and said it many times. And when he says something to the media multiple times over the course of a week, I'm talking about Ed Ogeron, I'm assuming he's saying the same thing, and that's kind of the theme of their week. And he said, we got to commit to the run. Got to commit to the run. We're going to stick with it. We're going to stick with it because he feels like they've bailed on it a couple times early in the season. So that's obviously what they were trying to do last week and did so. I mean, they kept running the ball in the second half when they were down 35-7. But we'll see what they try to do tomorrow. He got 22 carries last week. I think I'm going to go over that number as well because we talked about it in the first hour. Corey Kiner drops a pass. That's not going to get him on the field more. When the coach says in the interview after that we don't need to throw it to the freshman back, that doesn't mean he's going to play more. I think it's going to be Ty Davis Price, and I'll take the over on 18 there. Let's go with Malik Neighbors catches 5.5.
Let's go, Malik. Let's go. Let's go. We need it. We need every bit of it, Malik. We need it. Kayshawn being out. That's Mac's favorite target. That separation in yards, I think, is like 350, almost 380 yards to the next guy. So, yeah, we're going to need Malik to step up. And I think he's a guy, to me, he's just the most consistent one. I love Deion Smith. I think he has a ton of talent. I love Brian Thomas. I think he has a ton of talent. But I think Malik is just a step above both those guys. So, I'm going Malik here. I think he can have his breakout game this week.
Another guy O mentioned on his coach's show on Wednesday. They would call in. He said, "Got one guy y'all need to watch for is Malik Neighbors. He's gonna show out." And we saw it all camp. So we'll see. I'm gonna take the over on that as well. I think LSU's gonna get him the football a few times. I think over 5.5, especially with Deion Smith and Kayshawn Butte being out for the game. Florida second in the league in sacks. They're over under for sacks tomorrow 4.5. It's a healthy number.
Yeah, it's very healthy. I'm going to take the under on that because I think, like you said, we're going to be trying to get the run game going. We're going to try to get the ball out of Max's hands. Honestly, it's now or never for this offense, man. It's not the performance that you wanted 2 weeks in a row. You got to have to step up. You got to play huge. You go out here and you lay another egg. It's going to be bad, man, on all fronts. So I'm going to go the under here. I don't think they go over 4.5 sacks.
If they get a lead, they will. Because if LSU's got to sit back there and chunk it a bunch, and that aggressive blitzing defense and some freshman receivers out there, I think they could get home. That one's an interesting one. I think the over is very much in play there. Florida rushing yards. I realize Kentucky went for over 300. I can't put it at an astronomical amount. I'll put it at 185 yards. What do you think?
Take the over. Yeah. This trees in his territory. I'm going here, but I
don't see. How high would I have to go for you to take the under? What if I put it at 260?
I think I'd put it at 275 for me. 275 for me to feel comfortable.
That's a comforting feeling.
Yeah, they're just so dynamic. Last week they go for 300 without a quarterback really using his legs. Now you're going to have to deal with two of those guys. We saw what Bo Nix Manziel did with his legs, and now you're less depth on the D-line and more guys hurt in the secondary and more safeties out. Ah, man, I think that 185 is plenty generous, so I'll take the over for that all day long.
Over's probably the play there. I try, but I'm not putting it at 260. I'm not putting the over-under for rushing yards at 260 yards. I'm not doing it. Then maybe the most important over-under of the day, Bloody Marys consumed in Baton Rouge tomorrow, 22,000.
You might need to double that. Hey, I'm taking the over. It's going to be some Bloody Marys consumed in that early morning playing Florida at 11 a.m. People are going to need something, relax a bit with things going on in the stadium the way they could be going. So I definitely take the over for that one.
Are you a Bloody Mary drinker?
I've had one in my life and almost threw it up right on the table.
I don't like vodka
thing.
and I don't like tomato juice, so that doesn't create a lot of an appetite for a Bloody Mary. I got one guy in my golf group who he won't even go to the first tee if he doesn't have a Bloody Mary. Like, that's the most important club in his bag is the Bloody Mary in the cup holder.
The thing that blew my mind with the Bloody Mary is why is there celery and bacon in a freaking drink? What are we doing?
T-Bob and the gang, the OTV gang was at Walk-Ons earlier today doing the show, and they usually have champagne in here on Friday, and they had Bloody Marys. T-Bob's Bloody Mary. Go look at the picture of it on Twitter. Had a cheeseburger slider on the top of it.
God.
A little walk-on slider on the top of it. So yeah, I don't do Bloody Mary. It's my beverage of choice in the morning if I'm gonna have. It's going to be a mimosa. That's where I'm going to live.
Yep, I'm right in that mimosa area. And I'm trying to get on the little, what they call it, the Irish coffee, a little whiskey in the coffee. I'm not there yet, but I'm going to have to try that out a little bit.
That was something that Ogeron hinted at earlier. He said, put a little something in your coffee. Let's get up. Let's get rolling. You know it's not bad in the morning? I've got an excuse to crack a cold Bud Light in the morning. I don't complain about it. I like a nice cold Bud Light at about 8 o'clock in the morning on the golf course. That plays for me.
Yeah, that's not a bad move. That's not a bad move. Get one going. Get that free mulligan on the first one. The little Bud Light won't hurt that one either.
Got a couple people talking about what they drink in the morning to get ready to roll. We had, I think it was Brian Burgess said he was going to drink some rum and pineapple juice. That's an interesting one. Tequila Sunrise. That's a morning cocktail that Brian Burgess always says. Nookie, all about those 9 a.m. beers. That's like... I equate the 9 a.m. beers very often to the NFL fans. Like, I'm not one. Yeah. Certainly, there's tons down in New Orleans, but I go to a couple of NFL games generally a year, haven't obviously because of COVID, and then haven't been this year. Saints have only played one at home. But I think that's just such an NFL fans like state of mind. Like, they work all week, and then Sunday morning throw on the NFL jersey, and that they're popping the top at 8 a.m. like supercharged to get out there for that noon kickoff in the Central Time Zone or 1 o'clock. NFL fans are a different breed. They get it going on Sundays.
Man, it's a different life. It blew my mind to see people with so much energy. I'm leaving the team hotel. It's 7 in the morning, 8 in the morning, and you see droves of them just out. I'm like, what are we doing? I got crust in my eyes. Like, I'm just trying to wake up.
You gotta go to work the next day. Like, I finished the post-game show on Saturdays. LSU plays on Saturdays, obviously, and I usually go home and have a drink, no matter if it's an 8 o'clock kickoff and it's 2 in the morning, or if it's whatever. And I'll just I can't go right off the air and get right in bed. Like, I gotta decompress a little bit, and so that's generally what I'll do, and I'll put on usually whiskey and wine. The guys have just wrapped up, but I don't have to go to work the next day. Like, I don't have to go to work on Sunday. These guys, these NFL fans are just tying one on Sunday and then heading to the office on Monday. It's a tough life. That's why the college football life is better for me.
Yeah, and then turn that around to some Monday night football. They're rowdy for that, and then a little Thursday night football too. So just forget work. We're just getting after it.
I think you can fake it on a Friday and just get through. But like Monday's a punch in the face. You got a bunch of emails and like you're out of hangover. You're like, this is not where I want to be. So NFL fans, y'all can have it. I'll take my Saturday games. Let's come back and finish up the week with some LSU Florida talk and then some take it or leave it. Finishing up on Hunt and Hill.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Our topic today is about savings. What is savings?
Hancock Whitney isn't just a bank for our clients. We're investing in our hometowns, making life better for everyone. So keep dreaming. We've got your back.
During these challenging times, we know your healthcare needs don't stop. Cancer, accidents, injuries, and heart disease are relentless. So we are relentlessly innovating to keep you safe, both virtually and in person, connecting you with providers remotely, advancing clinical spaces, providing rapid and accurate testing, social distancing, and certified cleaning protocols. We are Auctioner, and we will not slow down. Auctioner Health, innovating healthcare.
Front to Back Boat Service has been family owned and operated for 30 years. And the Sherman family is NMEA certified. That's the National Marine Electronics Association at Front to Back. They are committed to improving the safety and technology of marine electronics through installer training, interface standards. And look, the fall and the winter, it's the perfect time to do that yearly maintenance you've been putting off. Get those parts you've been wanting. So schedule your appointment today at Front to Back North Airway off of Airline Highway.
Starting in 1974, Central Plumbing has served Baton Rouge and surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Through these tough and trying times, we want you to remember that the Payne family is here to continue to support and serve you. As a multi-generational business, there is no job that is too big or too small. Residential, commercial, industrial, hospitality, we're here for anything you need. 24/7, 365. Give us a call, 225-925-8552.
Tonight, we invite you to celebrate life, wherever and whenever you can, understanding that time is never on our side. Instead, gather up your friends tonight and share a few stories and laughs over a good bottle of wine. Or maybe a family meal that gives everyone a chance to reconnect and remember what's really important, whether it's for a birthday, an anniversary, or simply to remind someone special that they are loved. Ruffino's, where Louisiana comes to celebrate life.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
It's week 7 in the prep football season, and we get you started Friday night with Louisiana Prep Preview presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. And then starting at 10 o'clock, it's a full 2 hours of the Lake Urgent Care Lake After Hours Louisiana Prep Scoreboard Show on YouTube, CST, and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Winding down the week here on Hunt and Hill. Tigers and Gators, 11 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. All right, Jeremy, this is kind of our last parting shots on it. And I gave you a couple of reasons to have some optimism earlier in the first hour. I don't know how much you bought of that, but what do you think happens tomorrow in Tiger Stadium?
For the first time in my life, I'm going to have to do it, man. Got the Gators here. I think the Gators coming to town and they handle business. I've been wrong so much. Maybe I'll be wrong again.
Hey, I would like that very much.
It'll come right up my wheelhouse. It's being wrong on the Tigers, which is what I've been doing a lot this year. But as much as it pains me to say, man, I just don't know how we stop that rushing attack. Just so dynamic, so many guys, so many weapons, so much quarterback run with the depth we have at the defensive line. Man, only way I really see us having a real chance if Max plays out of his mind, and he can. We've seen him do it. But if that doesn't happen, I think Florida runs it, and they control the clock, and they get the job done.
You think they keep it close if you don't think they win?
If it's close,
I think within 10 points, you think they cover?
I think close, plays in our favor. But if Florida goes up and they can set their will, I don't think we have it in us to come back. So it's really going to come down to if we can start fast, get some momentum, maybe turn Emory over. That'll give us a chance, but that rush attack isn't going. You saw what they did to Alabama. They wore them down, just quarter after quarter. They couldn't do the same to Kentucky, but they started wearing people down, and that's what we've seen our defense do time and time again. Even the Mississippi State game, we start getting worn down in the fourth quarter. So we're good. I don't feel good about it. So I take the Gators, man. Be a treasonous traitor this week.
I mentioned this on Wednesday. I cannot overstate how important it is for LSU to get off to a good start. If they do not that place will empty out at halftime, even if it's half full. And I just don't know if they'll be able to summon the moral strength to keep this thing remotely close if Florida gets off to a hot start. I just don't know that this is a team that's capable of mounting some sort of 2-touchdown comeback. But I do think that there's a chance they can keep it close because I think that they can score some points. And you just got to hope you catch a couple breaks and get turnovers. But I'm with you. I think Florida's going to win this game. It's just this team was flawed from the start, LSU's was, and now you've gutted it of 10 of your top 15, 17 players. That's too much to overcome, in my opinion. I would be thrilled to be wrong like we were last year when they came. They were 20-point dogs last year in the Swamp and found a way to figure it out. And there are still good players on this roster, but there's just too much going. I trust what Florida's doing, and when you can't stop them from turning around and handing it off and picking up 7-8 yards, which they couldn't do last week. I don't know why. I would think they would turn around and change it 7 days later. It's just going to be difficult. I just don't see two ways about it. But as I've also said, not that this matters to anyone, but I'm excited to go in the stadium tomorrow. It's going to be unbelievable weather, and it's going to be LSU in Florida, and I'm pulling for the old alma mater tomorrow. Let's see if we can get it done. I just don't know that I love their odds. So let's do some take it or leave it to finish things up. Zach Ertz traded to the Arizona Cardinals for Tay Gowan and a 2022 fifth-round pick. Taking or leaving Ertz can help this Cardinals offense that's undefeated at this point.
Yeah, I think so. They lost their tight end Max Williams for the year, so they had to replace him. And what a guy to replace him, a veteran guy who played well last night. It's crazy. You're playing a big Thursday night game, and then you wake up the next morning, you're on a plane somewhere else. Just the nature of the business. But I think this is a win-win for both sides. I know Ertz wanted some security in Philadelphia. They didn't want to give it to him, and now he finds himself on an undefeated team in contention to do something special this year. So I definitely see Zach helping out this team.
I love the urgency from the front office of Arizona to look like, hey, we've got a really good start to the season, as good as you can do. We've got a good team. Let's go. We got to fill a hole. Let's fill it. And then they go out and get a really good player. And yeah, you give away a nice piece in Gowan, and you give away a fifth-round pick, but you got an opportunity in this league to make a push. You know, especially if you're a team that hasn't done it very often. Let's go. Let's get it. I'm a big believer in that.
All right, let's go. Penn State has the number one recruiting class for the class of 22 with 12 ESPN 300 players already committed to the class. Are you taking or leaving Penn State as one of the best programs in the country?
One of the best. I'll leave that. I mean, they're a good program. They're fine. I don't know that I'm buying into that. And the other part of that recruiting class, yeah, it looks good on paper. We'll see if James Franklin's the coach there when they sign. So that's something that remains to be seen. But no, I think it's a good program. I think if they lose another game and James Franklin looks around and goes, man, I can't get over this hump with Penn State, like, is the grass greener somewhere else? Maybe like Southern California. That's a possibility for him. So I'll leave them as one of the best programs in the country. That's for sure. The NCAA is going to remove minimum standardized test scores for incoming student athletes. This was announced today. Taking or leaving a good move for college sports to remove standardized testing.
I will take that all day long. Imagine just you playing in a Friday night game, high school football, you're battling it out. Then you got to study for an ACT and an SAT. Like, let's focus on the books. Let's score some touchdowns. Let's have a little fun. Let's remove these old things, old way of thinking, and let's just go to school, play some ball, and have some fun. I have no issues with this.
That means it's all kind of goes back to GPA. And look, yeah, say what you will about standardized tests, but a lot of people hate them. A lot of people like them. I was always pretty good at them. Growing up, I was better at that than trying to study something that I didn't care about, like biology or some stupid math that I couldn't figure out. So I was always pretty good at them, but I could take it or leave it. I don't really give a rip about standardized testing. I just know I don't have to take them anymore.
All righty, Cubs. The Cubbies get some new blood in their front office, hiring Carter Hawkins as their new general manager. Are you taking or leaving? Mr. Hawkins can rebuild this Cubbies roster.
He's going to help with Jed Hoyer. I'll take it. Look, he played at Vanderbilt. He spent 14 years with the Indians in player development. The Cubs player development's been lacking, especially in the pitching department over the years. Not that anyone is super involved in this, but I think the Cubs are moving in the right direction after selling everybody off. They've rebuilt the farm system and are trying to make a competitive team next year. My sincere hope is that Hawkins can do something to help. He comes from an organization that's been really good for quite a few years in the Indians. Well, Guardians coming up next year.
Yeah.
Texas A&M lands college football's commitment from a Swedish tight end, Theodor Ostrom, for the class of 2023. Taking a leave in Sweden is a new hotbed for college football recruiting.
I'm leaving this. Like, Jimbo, we're going to Sweden to get guys. Now, what are we doing? We couldn't go to Georgia. We couldn't go to Florida.
How about Texas?
Exactly.
You got any tight ends in Texas?
In your backyard. We're going to Sweden. Maybe this kid's a real deal, but I'm not going as far as calling it a hotbed just yet.
You bringing donuts tomorrow? You got mimosas lined up for the early show?
I may need something to get my mind right for what's going to happen tomorrow, but hopefully we come out, put up a fight. I know that's what they've been saying. It's a shame that's what we've come to. We're playing games to put up a fight now, but that's what we are. That's what we're going to have to see, and maybe those kids go out there and play their tails off and win this game.
What do you and Matt have planned for the show tomorrow morning?
Man, no scoreboard. I can tell you that. Won't be any scoreboard going at the time. Bright and early. I know we'll probably have Hester on. We'll have Gordy in the stadium. Obviously, got to have you on and have a great pregame show on Eagle 98.1.
Game day, Eagle 98.1. You can catch that 7 o'clock in the morning. That'll be Jeremy and Matt, 7 o'clock on 98.1. You can also catch that on the Bayou Ford YouTube channel for 104.5. And then they'll hand it off to me at 9 o'clock. We'll be at the TJ Ribs Tiger One Village between the ramps to the Assembly Center. If you're not firing up the tailgate until after the game, or you're not at all, and you're just coming to campus to watch the Tigers, come on by. It's a great spot to watch the team come down the hill, watch the band come down the hill. We'll be broadcasting the show. There's plenty to eat and drink all around, some really delicious stuff, and then you can head on into the stadium and watch LSU in Florida. So we'll be out there broadcasting. It'll be myself, Brandon Taylor, and Marlon Favorite at 9 o'clock till about 10:40. That's when we'll give it to the broadcast team. 30 minutes after it goes final, I'll be on the LSU Sports Radio Network taking your reaction via Twitter. You can lock us in as you're heading home from the game, and we'll talk for about an hour, and then we'll hand the baton to Eagle 98.1 Game Day's post-game show. That's Charles Hannegriff and Richard Condon. They will be on 90 minutes after the game goes final for 3 hours because of the morning show. So catch us for all of that on your Saturday as LSU in Florida kick it off at 11 o'clock in the morning. That's going to do it for us. Thanks so much for Big Faye for coming on. You can catch that on demand on 1045ESPN.com. Catch this entire show. We talked about the NFL slate, talked about the college football slate and the SEC, and, of course, a lot of LSU in Florida chatter. We've done all we can do from this perspective on a Friday. I'm going to head out to the box and watch some baseball. Enjoy your Friday afternoon. Matt Moscona, 3 to 6 for after further review, and the guys with the early line. Coming up next, I got a full weekend of football slate to talk about. That's Mario and Musso. We will see you Monday on Hunt and Hill.